teacher activists, individuals within the school district who are involved in transformative social movements. This could include issues with their school, the district, or issues of race, gender, job discrimination that take place outside a school environment. We have seen teacher activism take place throughout the years, through multiple generations, in the fight of equality and fairness, especially the fight for representation within the Black community. While speaking to modern-day Black teacher activists from different generations, insight is given into what role they play in the teaching of newer generations, along with what their activism and teaching means to them and those around them.
Teacher activism to me means using your voice to the best of your ability to make the points that you think are important.
It is in many ways safer for people of color to speak up, especially in a place like Philadelphia, where we have a strong union and we have people who support us, right? Like Kendra Brooks is on city council and she's a big supporter of public education and of Black women. So I think knowing that people like that are around definitely makes it more likely and kind of safer for teachers to kind of push back when they see things that are happening that aren't right.
When students are sitting in front of you and they're not represented with the role model of a teacher in front of them, they kind of lose some context. But those other students lose some context too, because having taught in diverse schools, they need to understand some things from a different perspective. And if they learn early on too, it helps them to start to view the world or view the habits that they learned that may just totally be unhealthy and just quite frank racist and oppressive, to see things differently because they know differently.
A lot of the ways that white people talk about students of color and Black students is definitely something that either Black teachers are expected to fix the problems and fix the kids, or we feel responsible for them, which is something that we willingly take on, but is definitely more work for Black educators and educators of color. I think we are expected to do a lot of the discipline or to teach classes that are maybe deemed more difficult because we can handle it, when really it's that we're building genuine relationships with kids.
Recognizing that your very essence as a teacher is that I call teachers, educators, public figures with a small letter P. And we're public figures that are super visible to the younger generation of students that are in our charge, and for us folks that are a little older, mentoring and supporting the other generation of folks, but recognizing that what we say has power.
So there's an author, Elizabeth Acevedo, and she said that being a teacher doesn't make you an activist, which I absolutely agree with. But I also think that we need more teachers to be activists.
New teachers need representation too. They need older teachers to pass the torch to say, this is how we do things. I know what that book says, but that's not how our kids operate.
Most, 70% of educators in the school district of Philadelphia are white, whereas about 80% of our students are Black and brown. So that is definitely something that we all need to keep working on to, one, make teaching a profession that Black and brown kids want to be involved in, and also a place that's safe for them to stay. So really equalizing some of those challenges that we talked about earlier.
I think that context is important, that they see those role models and that other people also see those role models in different positions other than the janitor or something like that. Let's face it, there's positions all over and from here to here, and we need to be represented in all of those areas.
The younger generation are pushing for transparency even more, and they do it even more vocally, with more fervor and more gusto than I think the other older generation. Sometimes we would want for transparency, but we might tiptoe around it a little bit. I think the young folks are like, no, we tired of tiptoeing. Say they're going to use technology, they're going to use the hashtags, They're going to use by whatever, like when they say what by any means necessary, they've taken what by any means necessary to a whole different level.
Like, I'm not so much concerned about what your letter grades are. I'm concerned about your journey, right? If this is where you are when I meet you, can we get to here, right? That's important for me.
We need people to keep using their voices and stand up for themselves and for each other if something is not right. And if something feels wrong, it probably is. So trust your instinct and your gut.
We need to look at our capital, our social capital, look at our genius, and find a way to make our lives better by creating opportunities for ourselves.
Representation, creating opportunities, and developing changes within our community are all things we see these teacher activists continue to do. Now it's up to us, the future generation of teachers, principals, activists, and much more, to take the unique voices of these teachers and bring them to the light. And as Mr. Reed said, finding a way when it comes to not only bettering ourselves, but creating a future that furthers this path of opportunities for those around us.